Okay, so as I said on the background before recording, today the ds-incubator will talk about branching and merging. We'll get as far as we can. In this series of meetups, we are going at whatever pace we need to really get into the details of how to do things with Git. The ideas that we're going to be covering today is, how, as a team we can work in multiple features at the same time without interfering with each other, how to combine those changes of parallel tracks into this main line of work, which by convention is a branch called master, but there is nothing special about that name. Actually, GitHub is changing that to the name main, I believe, or trunk, to remove the connotation with the connection with slavery, and then we're going to also be talking about the idea of how to reference a particular point in the history of a project. Remember that commits are the fundamental unit of change in the framework that Git provides, and branches are no more and no less than a pointer to a commit. And there is another way to point to a commit in a very human-friendly way, which is Git Tags. So we are going to be talking about Git branches as the main star, because they are also connected to the pull requests that we work so much with. But the difference between tags and branches, as you will see soon, is that the branch kind of moves with your changes. As soon as you make a new change on a branch, then the branch moves up to the latest commit, as opposed to a tag that stays where it is. Therefore, tags are great for marking snapshots that are releases. So when you feel that your project has reached a good state, then you create a tag, and that is just a pointer with a user-friendly name that allows users to refer to that specific state, to that specific commit. This little image shows more or less, or tries to capture the. Let me actually increase this because I think you're seeing your faces better here. All right. Thank you very much. That explains. So I have to go here. Present now my entire screen. Let's do this. Sorry for that. Share. Okay. Do you see cute octopuses here on my screen? Yes. Cool. So before the cute octopuses, the more kind of boring image here. So we have, imagine our project started here on the far left with M1. This is just one commit, and then a second commit, and then a third commit. So the branch, in this case, the branch master is pointing to the last commit M3, and master could stay there, but you could shift to another branch and continue work. Therefore, we need a way to refer to the current branch or the current commit. So the current commit, or where you are at any single point in time, that is referred to as head. And this name head is actually a keyword that Git knows about, and you can refer to it as a shortcut for the commit I'm standing now. And you will see how that might be useful later. So the idea that we are, I think everyone here is more or less familiar with the idea of branches. So in the center here we have a main line of development. As I said before, there is a convention. There is nothing magic about this name, but there is a convention that the master branch, the branch name master, is the main line of development. Here they're represented in the center. So we start on the left with an octopus that has no glasses and no hat. Then someone creates a branch because they want to add a feature which is glasses right now. So they create that feature. They put glasses on our octopus on the head glasses branch, and that does not interfere with the master branch. The master branch continues to not have glasses, and at the same time someone else adds a new feature as well. They branch off master, and that's key. So the idea of always going to master, updating your changes on master, on your local master branch, with the changes on your remote master branch. And I'm going a little ahead of myself just to acknowledge the comment that Monica made. Sometimes we find ourselves creating a pull request that has a bunch of commits that were already merged into master, and we don't know where they're coming from. Well, they come from having branched off a branch that is not the master branch, generally branching off another branch, or by I think I'll stop it there. So we always want to kind of go to master, branch off there. So in this image, someone branched off with a branch name hard glasses, and they added glasses. Someone else, or maybe the same person, created another branch that is called cowboy hat, and they added a hat. As you can see, each branch has only the specific feature that is intended to be added there. But then when you merge those two branches into the master branch has the combination of the two. So let me pause for a second because I need to invite someone else to the room. Admit Jacob. Hello. I'm going back to our cute image. So the way I see, so I used to be a photographer, so the way, and I worked a lot with Photoshop and a lot of in the dark room all days before the digital cameras. So the way I think about branches and about commits is as layers. Imagine a transparent paper, and then you add one thing. In this case, you have the drawing of your octopus, and then you have a transparent film with glasses, and then you have your film, and you put on top of the background image that is just the octopus, and now you have octopus with glasses, right? And then that's that layer is a branch, and what you can see there is that a very efficient way of working, because you're not copying the entire octopus, you're just creating the glasses and putting that on top of that. So that's the change. So you work only on the change. You are not working on the entire thing. So that's how I think in my head about adding changes to a line of development. And then I can imagine if someone else is creating a film with a transparent film with a hat, then when they put that on top of my glasses layer, what you get is the octopus with glasses and a hat. So that's how I go about that. Please do, yes. Yes. That's beautiful. Thanks. Yeah, and that also kind of touches on the idea of when you merge changes, what it means to have a conflict, right? So as Alex said, you touch the same line in a file, and therefore Git doesn't know which of the two it should kind of prioritize, right? So a human needs to make a decision. There are some automatic ways to say prioritize whatever is in master or prioritize whatever is in my branch, but still a human needs to make that decision and add the flag if you want to do that, or you have to just open the file, see where the changes are, the conflicts are, and fix them manually. So the way to minimize that, thanks Alex, is exactly as he said, with communication. Sometimes you don't know and you just what other people is doing, you just need to face the conflicts, but it's not fun. So and it becomes less painful, the smallest the PR is, and the more experience, of course, you are. Any other questions here? Because I feel that I prefer to kind of move slow here and address every gap probably in our understanding right away. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the whole thing that we are seeing here is what GitHub knows as GitHub Workflow. There is other workflows that have. So the GitHub Workflow, as you see it here, what it means is that you just create a tiny branch that has one feature, and then you merge it back to the trunk, to the master branch. That's the GitHub Workflow. So there is only one permanent or long-lived branch, and then tiny PRs. But then there is other workflows that I don't endorse because they are so complex that need a lot of experience in the team with Git, where you have a dev branch and then people merge stuff into dev, and then whatever is ready for production, then from dev goes back to master. So adds a lot more structure. So the idea that we have a branch and then we depend on what that branch adds to start moving on other changes, that adds the complication that I think we have seen more often, and it is kind of doable, but you need to synchronize. You need to merge first PR1 and then PR2, and that's a pain in the butt. So maybe with the talk by Alex, we can have a little bit more insight about what's the best way to go about that. I found myself sometimes kind of creating the thing that has all the features that I want, the thing, the hat and the glasses, or as Alex said, the mask and the glasses, because they touch the same thing, and then kind of breaking them apart and creating a sequence of first I need to merge this and then I need to merge that. But I don't know, maybe with that discussion we'll learn that maybe it's just better to bite the bullet and do a bigger PR. I don't think it's so clear cut, and the discussion will surely help us a lot. So, okay, this is more or less showing the same thing, basically showing a more complex structure, so maybe we won't spend a lot of time on that. But let's see. The strings of version control is that it permits the research to isolate different tracks at work. Yes, we see branching points and merging point. Right, so maybe one thing to take out of this image, this is more realistic, also more ugly because there is too much going on in here. But clearly, there is this main line of development, what we would call now the master branch, and a couple of feature branches. Now one in red, B1, B2, B3, and now in green, D1, M1, and D2. You also see how so some lines of development merge into the main line of development and creates this kind of branched, this kind of complex structure. But with git log, the command git log, you can show all the full structure of the branches, and you can also hide the merges using a flag. It's called no merge, and also with different approaches to merging. One is called rebase, that I think we'll cover maybe later. You also completely avoid the parallel structures, because every branch actually kind of gets cut from the trunk and then stuck in the top. But that comes with a risk. That rewrites the history, and if you are sharing a branch already online, that's something that you should not do. So the most comprehensive and safe approach is with merge commits, and then if we have kind of questions, we can talk about that. Okay, the lesson will be using an alias. Aliases are something that we'll be covering in a different lesson. It is just a shortcut to typing a lot of commands on Git. The intent is to be able to show these branches on your git log command. But we'll leave probably I will just type this for now, and when we cover aliases, then we can configure our aliases. But the long story made short is that in Git you can create shortcuts to commands that you use very often, and Alex has kindly shared his favorite aliases that you can just copy and paste into your own Git configuration file. Okay, so I think we are now getting to the hands-on part. We are going to inspect the history of a project that we have been working with using this alias Git graph, or using the full thing. So it's going to take me a second to go to our studio and get that ready. So in the meantime, if there is any comment or question, please go ahead. Okay, here is my studio. I'm gonna do a little git status to see what's going on. I see that there is a file there. Actually, I like this the other way. I'm gonna move this to my right, and then this other thing to the left, because that's what we have been doing before. I'm gonna make this a little bigger. And there we should be more or less fine. Okay, kind of almost a review as of things that we did before. I see a file A that has been deleted. That's nothing that relates to what I'm going to show now. So I'm going to unstage that. I see that in the staging area. So I'm going to do git reset, git status, git checkout the working tree, git status. Okay. So now you can see that my git status is clean. What I did is I checked out. So the idea of checking out is, you go and get something out from somewhere, right? So what I did is, there is two kind of copies of what I have on my folder here. One is inside the Git repository, and the other one is actually exposed. This is what I actually see when I go click a file. So what I just did is I kind of moved the history of the project as it was in the latest commit with git checkout. I did git checkout dot, which checks out everything. That is kind of a bit of a dangerous command, but I know in this case what I'm doing. I just want a clean staging area to start using the commands that I see on the lesson. So what we see here is basically is to do git log, but we know that git log is a bit too much information, a kind of unstructured, so we don't want that. Instead, I'm going to clean this with Control L, type the up arrow to recover the last command, and I'm going to start adding the flags all, then graph. So graph is what's going to make the git log to show the branches, and all is going to show all branches that there are. So far there is only one line of development, just the master branch. I don't think we have any other branch, but if we are unsure, we can type the command git branch. So git branch now shows that there is a branch called English. I don't even know how that branch appeared there, but it's there. And let's continue with the command. So building the command, just type the up arrow to go back to that command, git log all graph, but then the flag decorate adds some colors, which is great, and then the one line makes the history a bit more clear, because all I'm showing is the commit message, the first line of the commit message that we have learned 2 lessons ago, that is crucial to make it informative and sweet, short, less than 50 characters or less, so that we can get this kind of visual snapshot. I quickly know exactly what's going on in this project. And here, because it's so compact, you can see how I can see this branch called English there that I may have added for some example. I was just trying things out. Who knows? Okay, so that's the first hands-on activity here. You're welcome to do that yourselves now, or maybe following the video later, or following the lesson. The idea of using an informative git log that allows you to see which branches you have and how they relate to the trunk master. So in this case, what I'm seeing is that there is no connection between English and the master branch, which is the main line here, which means that this branch has not been merged yet. So let's see what the lesson provides. Okay, it's talking about 3 commits. I think that because I may have kind of done a few other things for demonstration. We have a lot more commits in the history of my repo here. We are the lesson reminds us that there is something called the SHA, which is an identifier, universally unique identifier of each commit. That is, it is crucial. It is what we get when we do just git log. So git log, you can see that the SHA here at the very top is F871D96. But then if I do git log, I do something that is, I get something that is, it starts the same, but then it's much longer. Why? Okay, because the git log summary that I kind of create with all these thingies shows not the entire SHA because it's very long, so that it is sure to be unique, but shows just the first few characters which uniquely identify that SHA. That means that we can use that identifier to refer to that commit, to do whatever, to create a branch, to cherry pick a change that we did in one branch into another, to revert that commit, a bunch of things. But SHAs are ugly. It's very difficult to communicate with someone. Hey, go to SHA to commit F871D96. Instead, you prefer to say, hey, go to master. So master is now a synonym because it's standing at that point in the history. Right now, it is the same to tell you go to master. It's the same as telling you go to commit F871D96. And same thing with head. But if I tell you, please go to English branch, then you would know that I'm talking about the commit FB2C5D4 as it is now. But branches are movable, so as I add more changes, those branches will point to a different commit. And if I want something that points to a specific commit and stays there, then what I want is a tag that we'll cover later. Any question up to here before I continue here? So on which branch are we? The answer, I think I gave it before. If we want to know which branches we have and which branch we are working on right now, you use the command git branch. And as you can see here, there is a little asterisk on the branch that we are standing on. You also see that my working branch is in green. I don't think you get that by default. Probably, I don't remember exactly which are the configurations I have in my profile. If you would like to, like a more informative command prompt or more informative colors for your branches and stuff, and you don't see what you want, feel free to book a help desk because we have that information. It's just it's not something that is going to be the focus of these lessons. But working with a cool command line is very important. For example, this is mine, and if I jump to say Pacta analysis, so this is how I jump to that repo, and I do a git status like this, or I can do GSS. So there's a bunch of things that you can do in a customized terminal that are worthwhile investing a little bit of time so that you get the information in a very clear way. Colors help a lot, and for example, informative logs help a lot too. Any question, comment here? So how to know in which branch we are? That's pretty straightforward. Maybe more interesting is how to create branches. So if I'm in, and then we are going to stop there because we have only 4 minutes to the half hour. I'm going to talk about this this command here. Probably the one that I use the most, which I don't see here. I see probably under. This is a shortcut. Okay, so the lesson is suggesting to create a new branch called experiment. And then we add cilantro to the file ingredients.txt. So, we are in master. We did git branch. We know that we are in master because we see that asterisk there. So what we do now is git branch, and we just give the name of the branch, experiment. But as you will see, if I now do git branch, you will see that I'm still on master. I'm not on the branch experiment. But the branch experiment has been created. So then I have to check out the branch experiment. And I do that with git checkout experiment. There you go. And Git tells me that I have switched to that branch. But you can do a shortcut for git branch plus git checkout branch. And that is -b. So you can do git checkout -b and the name of the branch. And that will not only create the branch, but also move you to that branch. So move the head to that branch. If I run that, I should get an error because the branch already exists, right? But if you don't have that, so let's do a branch that doesn't exist, toy branch. You can see that I have created it and moved to it at the same time. So to basically follow the lesson a little bit. We're going to add the ingredient to the file, the ingredient cilantro to the file ingredients.txt. So let's click on that file to open it, and let's add that ingredient, cilantro. Right, so I save that file, and now Git already knows that it's there, right? So I can stage it on RStudio just by clicking on it, or I can stage it here by doing git status. Let's see what files we have. Okay, I have the file ingredients that has been modified. What has changed? With git diff, I see, okay, I added cilantro. So let me clear this with Control L, and then we'll get git add ingredients.txt. I use the tab. That's why you saw it type so quickly. And then I do enter. The git status now should show git status should show that ingredients has been added to the staging area. So and I can do git commit with a little message that says add cilantro. And now if I do git log, let's do graph. Sorry, let's do graph. All decorate and one line. I think I mistyped something. Now what I expect is to see that the branch actually look at that. I did a mistake there that wasn't supposed to happen. So when I created my toy branch and started working on it, the change was added to that branch, right? Because it was the last one that I checked out. Doesn't really matter for the purposes of this demonstration. That's fine. All I wanted to show basically is that now the head has moved along with the changes that I did in the new branch. The change has been added on top of master. You don't see, that kind of branching to a side. You see it just added to it. Okay, so with that, I would like to stop because we have reached the half hour, and we have reached at least a good point where we know how to create a branch. We understand what a branch is, that it moves with the changes that you make. We understand that master is just a convention, nothing special about the name, but it is what the only long-lived branch in a project that uses the GitHub Workflow. We also know that head is a synonym for current branch. We know how to create a branch and then check out, and we know how to create and check out a branch all at the same time. And you also know how to mess things up, as I just did with my toy branch. Any comment or question before we leave? Yeah, no, I don't. Alex or anyone else? Makes sense, yeah. Makes sense. From the perspective of who actually has the authority to bring something into their repo. That's cool. Some other comment or question? No? Okay, again, kind of apologize for moving a little slow, but that's exactly what I want, to give the opportunity to build that mental model with all the elements that we need, and to ask questions. Hopefully next session we'll either finish this or and then having the next one, Alex talking about I think it's gonna be the best way, so that the team focuses, so the Pacta team focuses on what we are doing right now, and then we reflect on what we did based on the brown lunch that Constanza is organizing, plus Alex's experience. Thank you very much then. See you next time. Ciao, ciao.